how Malaysia's best sailor took on the world in the Monsoon Cup. We'll take you to the Venda region of South Africa, where bare-knuckled boxing is a rite of passage. And we look at the growth of rugby in Ghana. Welcome to Sportsworld, Al Jazeera's regular look at sport around the globe. I'm Karthi Gnanasegaram. The sport of sailing is often regarded as something of a rich boy's sport, particularly when you take into account the amount of money involved in the prestigious America's Cup. But there's another side to yachting, a side where those aspiring to be among the elite battle away with limited funds, like young Malaysian Tiffany Khoo. She's recently had the opportunity to sail against the world's best, and now she wants more. Wayne Hay caught up with her.
From America's Cup helmsmen to world champions, they're tough, hard-nosed skippers at the very top of their game. This is the very serious business of the world match racing circuit. Thrown in among all the wind and spray at the Monsoon Cup in Malaysia was the always smiling face of a local.
The whole event here is a learning curve for me. I mean, this guy is like top in the world, and like me, I'm like somewhere at the bottom. Yeah, racing against that, and I feel proud about it. Yeah.
When she wasn't learning, Tiffany Khoo was pinching herself. Everywhere the 23-year-old looked on and off the water, she was surrounded by her heroes. But she didn't come for autographs, she came to race, and the results weren't what she dreamt of.
So we are 90 kilo below, and we're actually struggling with the weight, and our crew is not strong enough. Yeah.
She went through the regatta without a win. Most of her time was spent chasing the opposition around the racecourse just off Kuala Terengganu on Malaysia's east coast. But to put it into context, this was only her third match racing regatta. Her background is fleet racing, sailing professionally for a wealthy businessman in Hong Kong. But her taste of head-to-head match racing has her wanting more.
I think match racing is much more fun because, you know, it's like, two boat, and then we just get the result right away, and it's quite challenging. Yeah, but the problem that I'm having is I'm lack of sponsorship. Yeah, so if let's say I get the sponsorship, I think I'll just move on to match racing.
Khoo won the right to sail in the Monsoon Cup by winning the Malaysian Championship. But as she found out, the step up from sailing against Malaysia's best to the world's best was a big one. Tiffany Khoo is certainly under no illusions. She knows she's in a completely different league to the big guns of world sailing. What she is doing, though, is paving the way in a sport that in this part of the world struggles for any sort of recognition and struggles to get young people to take it up. Top-level yachting in Malaysia is in its infancy. While the Monsoon Cup has developed into a world-class event with a purpose-built facility, sailing talent is thin on the ground. The driving force behind the regatta says having Khoo on the water, mixing it with the best, is a giant leap forward.
You know, Tiffany is really a gem and a credit to her sport. She's a good sportsman, she competes well, and you know, it really doesn't matter what the result is for her. She's in there. It's a yardstick of where the nation is and where it has to get to, and it's here in the flesh. So, you know, all kudos to Tiffany. She's a great kid, and we wish her well.
Khoo hopes her exposure to the big time will lead to bigger and better things, like the Olympic Games. Women's match racing has been confirmed in the program for London 2012.
Last time my dream is to sail on the Olympic for the laser radio, but I can't make it because of my height and my weight. Because all the girls are actually taller than me and a lot. Yeah. So if let's say they put match racing and I think the Malaysian have to, you know, start training up more girls so that I can have some more crews here.
While the results may hurt at the moment, Tiffany Khoo is soaking up the experience. When she's not on the water getting a first-hand look at the world's best, she's still watching, still learning. By the time the London Olympics roll around, she'll have plenty of knowledge to call upon, and her enthusiasm for the sport she loves may well have rubbed off on other Malaysian women. Wayne Hay, Al Jazeera, Kuala Terengganu, Malaysia.
Now the rules are simple. Two fighters with bare fists do battle until one of them is knocked out or surrenders. The Venda are a little-known people from South Africa. For at least 300 years, their young men have had the opportunity to prove themselves as warriors in a traditional fighting competition, Venda boxing. Fighters like Killer hold hero status in their home villages. Al Jazeera's Rahul Pathak has more.
It might look like a bit of a free-for-all, but this is in fact Venda boxing, a traditional version of the sport popular in the northeastern provinces of South Africa. It gets its name from the Venda tribe. Every December, fighters descend on their village near the Zimbabwe border for an annual tournament. And the man they all want to beat is the undefeated king of Venda boxing, Rexon Killer Ralukake.
Young guys start with Venda boxing. He don't scared when he arrives here because he know how to fight.
When Rexon isn't seeing off opponents in the ring, he's to be found in Johannesburg, where he divides his time as a pro fighter and as a general worker at a local school. But with many of the pupils also hailing from his home village, celebrity status for this school caretaker is assured.
Even at Venda, nobody want to fight me just because they give me a killer name because I kill them. That is why maybe they're scared to fight me even at Venda.
When December rolls around, Rexon leaves the Johannesburg townships to go home. It's not only a chance to defend his crown, but it's the only time of the year he's reunited with his family.
I love fighting, you know. So, but what I don't want to do is now let's like fight somebody anyway. I don't like it. But on the ring, I have lost a lot of protection. I love fighting, and I don't think nobody can beat me. You understand? So, but on my kids, I cannot say do this, don't do this, do this. Everyone have a own career. If he want to follow me, he must follow me. I will teach them.
As for the rules, well, to the untrained eye, there doesn't seem to be many. No referees, no time limits, no points, no gloves. Bandages around the knuckles have only recently been allowed due to concerns about HIV/AIDS. The ring is always divided into two sides, each with an equal amount of fighters. A fighter loses if he goes down, if he gives up, or if an elder takes him out of the ring to prevent harm. A boxer can't be attacked on the ground or from behind, and the use of elbows isn't permitted. And if you can remember those simple rules and have very little regard for your health, then you can enter the competition. And if a fighter is good and earns respect, the audience will give him a warrior name such as Killer. Early December is the time for younger fighters such as these to prove themselves. Closer to Christmas, the serious warriors like Rexon appear in the ring. Meanwhile, not far from the fighting, the local elders meet for their annual Christmas discussion. Former Venda boxing great, the undefeated and now retired Poison, has become one of the most respected people in the community. He knows what drives the young boxers when they come back home.
Because you see, when you fight that kind of battle, you are not allowed to be near the women, you are not allowed maybe to drink too much, you see. So because when they are at Gauteng and the other towns, they are away from their women, they are away from most of the things that may make them weak. So it means that they want to start earlier when they're still strong, you know.
The Venda are a little-known people in South Africa, and yet one of the most fascinating. The author, Sir Ryder Haggard, was so impressed by this land of mysteries that he placed his famous novel, King Solomon's Mines, here. Vendas are not only known for their secretive ways and their black magic, but also for their tough young fighters. And the reason for that is simple.
Before someone allows you to marry his girl, he may say, my girl will only be married by someone who's very much strong, who will make protection for her. So it means if you fight there, you are being tried as a man. We are testing your strength, whether you are a man enough or not, you see. Even your heart becomes the strong in your heart, you see. You can stand for whatever challenge.
Well, Killer doesn't need that anymore. He already has 2 wives and all the respect a man can earn here. Unbeaten with his 40 years, he can go straight into the finals the next day. But strength alone is not enough in Vendaland. The local medicine man has plenty of potions called muti to change the outcome of a fight.
There are magics in these things. There are magics. Because you see, if you find someone who uses what we call the Solomon fish, that one's very much slippery, you know. And if you use the motive from that Solomon fish, that person cannot grab him. Wherever you try to grab him, then he slips out from you. You cannot touch him because he uses the motive from the Solomon fish. And then there is another motive wherein when you are fighting your opponent, he becomes invisible in front of you. That we call chiswiswi. And this chiswiswi, you know, when you are fighting a person, it can happen that you see about 3 images in front of you, and you cannot be sure whether this one is the real person, whether this one is not a real person. So it's a sort of magic that is happening. But all of this, there are something that you must use to neutralize all of those. Firstly, if you take the mere table salt, sodium chloride, table salt, and then you just go there, you smear it on your face and everything. That motive cannot work. And we don't tell the other people because this is very much secret. It is known by those who are becoming champions.
And Killer knows this secret. It ensures a muti-free zone at Champions League level, but none of the other champs have arrived so far, and no one else is prepared to fight him. Hours later, Killer gets his only fight for the day. A stretched arm pointing towards someone is a challenge, and a nod means challenge accepted. Killer is a professional boxer in Johannesburg and has never lost. His only problem is that he can't get any more fights because people are too scared. Most of his opponents were knocked out. This young challenger surely knows that. Must be a potential father-in-law watching from the sidelines. So another year and another victory for the Killer. The way he's going, we might have to wait until these kids grow up before there's a new king of Venda boxing. Rahul Pathak, Al Jazeera.
Don't forget to have a look at our website, aljazeera.net/English, where you can get all the latest sports news and find out more about the show. Stay with Sportsworld because coming up, the unlikely story of rugby's growth in the African country of Ghana.